Welcome to Justice for, a true crime podcast hosted by two besties from Colorado. We're focused on bringing justice to the victims by telling their stories. New episodes release every single Tuesday, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and the follow button anywhere that you can find us, and you'll get updates on all of our new episodes.
Just a warning, this podcast does contain adult language and adult themes, such as assault and abuse of varying forms, so please listen and watch with discretion. Every time domestic violence ends in tragedy, we all hear the same thing. Why didn't they leave? How could they allow that treatment? But what if they did leave? And they followed all the steps of leaving an abuser properly, filing protection orders, going through the court and attorneys. They did everything they were supposed to, and it still wasn't enough. Would they still say, why would they allow themselves to be treated this way? Or would they be mad at the abuser for still terrorizing them? The unfortunate reality is that sometimes leaving your abuser isn't enough. And for one Florida mom, that was the case. Welcome
I already hate this. I'm already upset.
Welcome back to Justice For. We're your hosts. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam.
And I've already ruined your day.
Yeah.
So, I would like to thank Trisha.
Yay!
For suggesting this case.
Yes.
And she suggested through the case submission on the website.
She did.
She did.
It was awesome. And it's not taking us 50 million years to get it to it.
Well, the thing was
our recording schedule.
And things kept happening.
Bro, yeah.
Like with the case.
That case?
Yes. So I was waiting for things to find a spot, and then once I was looking more into him, I was like, oh shit, I just have to do it.
Well, great.
So
we were gonna do this one together.
We were.
And then literally up until this morning. And then she was like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna go over this. I'm like, do you just want to do all of it? And she's like, okay.
This was going to be something that was easy for us to both do.
Yeah.
But then
things
I went through so many documents that I was like, oh my God, this was a lot.
Yes.
So be ready.
I did not do research on this case. So we are finding out together. I know
she knows a little because I rambled.
A little bit. And because I read about it with the case submission.
Yes.
But I don't know details.
Because when y'all submit a case, our podcast liaison, aka my big sister, she actually receives those, and she will give us a little summary and give us some links to go with it so that we can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. So the more links and the more info you guys can send us with it is really helpful. But I was really excited to get into this case just from the little description that I got.
I remember reading it and I was like, oh my God, we have to do this soon.
Yes. So thank you so much, Trisha.
Yes.
This one's for you.
Appreciate you. I'm happy you're a listener. I miss you. I hope you're doing well.
Okay. So we wanted to share the story of Cassie Carli with you today in hopes that it could help someone in a similar situation. Domestic violence is an epidemic in our country, and we talk so much about how to leave an abuser and how to recognize a toxic relationship. But what isn't talked about enough is what to do when you're still being terrorized by your abuser after you leave. And Cassie did everything right, and it still went all wrong for her. The biggest piece of advice after leaving an abuser is to never be alone with them and to always meet in public places. And we're going to have more info for you on that at the end of the episode and how Cassie is already making it safer for court-ordered pickups. Mm-hmm. But even in a recent case as well, another person who did everything right took a friend with her to pick up her kid. Her and her friend both went missing.
Bruh.
But it wasn't a public, safe place with recorded surveillance, which is another part of this. It's two cases recently that have had a similar outcome because not having a safe place to exchange custody of. So it's a little different today. This is a story about someone who got out and it still wasn't enough, instead of somebody who should have gotten out.
I'm ready to fight.
Oh, I'm so ready to fight.
I don't know anything, and I'm I'm ready.
So, who is Cassie Carli?
I don't know.
She was born on May 11th, 1984, in Lafayette, Louisiana. And even though she moved to the panhandle of Florida at an early age, she still maintained her love for the Saints. She was a die-hard Saints fan.
Good on
This
her.
girl loved her football. And,
I understand.
Oh, yeah. I understand. And, Saints, not a bad team. I don't hate them, but I don't root for them all the time. I rooted for them in, like, one Super Bowl.
Well, yeah. Also, he's not with him anymore, but I was always a Drew Brees fan as well.
Oh, yes.
Ugh, that man.
Oh, yes. So, Cassie absolutely loved Navarre, Florida, which is where she lived. She loved living by the beach. She called it her forever home when she got there, even at a young age, and she kept that up. And after graduating Navarre High School in 2002, she went on to earn her bachelor's degree in business management. And her goal in life, personally and professionally, was to make an impact on the world and help others. Cassie was a natural-born leader with an outgoing spirit. And did I mention that she is absolutely gorgeous? And her whole life was she absolutely gorgeous. Okay, blonde hair, beautiful eyes, biggest smile, just, you wanted to be friends with her.
Nice.
And she even won, she was even crowned Baby Miss Queen of Morgan City, Louisiana, when she was a baby. Yeah, she was a baby Miss Queen. How
precious.
Adorable is that? Everyone said that Cassie had an infectious laugh and was just a complete joy to be around. And Cassie was very close to her family, her mom, her dad, her sisters, just constantly texting. And they had this little family text sign off that was loving you always, LUVIN. Mm-hmm. And they would abbreviate it to capital LUV. And that's just what they would sign off their text messages with. And it just, it was a sign. It was them texting.
Yeah.
And Cassie had always dreamed of being a mom. And after having infertility issues in her first marriage, she kind of shelved those dreams. I could not find a lot of information on her first marriage and what happened. There is a post in a GoFundMe we'll talk about later that she talks about the ending of that being one of the most traumatic times in her life.
Okay.
So I don't know if he passed away. I don't know if it was a toxic relationship. But
do you know how old she was?
So she was in her 30s. So she is 37 when she goes missing. She's 30.
Spoiler alert.
Or she's 37 now. She's 35 when she's in her 30s when she has her daughter.
But the first marriage was probably
in her 20s.
Younger.
It was a younger in her 20s. And so I didn't dig too far on that because he has nothing to do with this.
There's no need.
Yeah. I just wanted to put it out there that it was there and that's part of it. So she was and she's kind of like shelved. What?
I just had a thought. If I'm piecing together like infertility issues plus a tragic ending, maybe he had some type of terminal
possibly
medical thing, and that's why they couldn't bear children, and that could be why she may possibly be widowed. We don't know. Yeah. Just a speculation, but just piecing together.
I just didn't dig too far into that just because I didn't
need to.
Don't need to drag all those people into something that... And it's not really ever... It's the only place that first marriage and that stuff is brought up is in personally from herself in a GoFundMe she makes at some point.
Okay.
So, and so after that first marriage, she just kind of shelved those dreams of being a mom. So she was just living her life and figuring out how to be single again. And it was around this time that Cassie met Marcus Spanavello in July of 2017. And after a few months of dating, Cassie had been noticing some really big red flags in Marcus, but she just kind of pushed them aside. She's having fun. She's dating. It's not a big deal right now. This isn't anything serious. But then she found out she was pregnant.
Oh.
And she knew Marcus was not the man to start a family with, but she was so desperate for a family that she went on with the pregnancy. And let me make it very clear. Cassie says over and over again, she never regretted having Saylor. Having Saylor was the best thing to ever happen to her. Having Saylor with Marcus was not a good decision.
I'm just saying, you can have a baby and not have a man included.
Yes.
What a thought. Like, I understand that it's like a financial
But she,
and
yeah.
like
So-
exhausting thing, but just like, if you know it's going to be what's best, bye.
Yes. And it's kind of, you're predicting good.
Genius.
You're doing really good here.
Genius.
But the pregnancy had just made things worse, and Marcus became more controlling, and the relationship became even more toxic. And that's a story we hear time and time again. Pregnant women, it's the most vulnerable time ever in a relationship.
That's the leading cause of death in pregnant women.
Is
Murder.
spouses murdering them.
Yes.
Yes, it is the leading cause of
Not
death.
even just spouses, just murder,
But murder
in general.
generally, it is the spouse. And Cassie didn't want her baby growing up in that kind of environment.
Period.
And with the help of her friends and family, Cassie left him and she stayed away. She didn't go back. She didn't, oh, whatever. This back and forth that we hear so much. She was done.
And that was before Saylor was born? Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
So she did it. She did what you're supposed to do. And according to internet warriors everywhere, that's it. That's all you have to do and it's over, right? Yeah. Like, that's it. It's that simple. You get away and you're done, right? Well, if it were that easy, you wouldn't be listening to us right now.
More people would have done it.
And I wish I could tell you that it did get better for Cassie. But the point is that everybody behind a keyboard says if you just leave, it's fine.
Yeah. They don't know what goes into it.
No. And Cassie, and I wish I could tell you it got better. I do. I wish I could tell you Cassie and Marcus go on to co-parent and raise a beautiful little girl together. Unfortunately, it's not what happened. And Marcus was only beginning to show his true colors.
Ooh.
On July 30th, 2018, Cassie gave birth to her daughter, Saylor. And...
What did you just say?
Saylor.
July 30th?
Mm-hmm. 2018.
Nice.
And Cassie loved being a mom.
Hell yeah.
Her and Saylor were constantly together. They were playing and just everything they did together. Videos, outings, all of it. They just loved to be together. Mm-hmm. They used to walk around holding hands, singing a little song of just the two of us, just in their own little rhyme, in their own little thing, just, toddler and mom stuff. And unfortunately, though, 3 months after Saylor was born, an intense custody battle began. And I need everyone in this room and listening to buckle the fuck up. Because I was not even ready for the way this man used the court system to terrorize Cassie. When I opened up this webpage, which will be linked below, which is absolutely beautiful, and I tell you, like, I can't even count the number of court documents we're going to go through. I couldn't even put an estimate, and if I did, I'd put it around 60 plus.
Okay.
Easily.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So, on Halloween of 2018, Cassie filed for a domestic violence injunction against Marcus. And the judge then granted her and 3-month-old Saylor a temporary protection order until a court date on November 9th. And this was a really big deal because in order for all of that to happen, Cassie had to prove that her and Saylor's life was in imminent danger. Mm-hmm. But a week later, it was all dismissed because Cassie couldn't produce any more evidence that showed her life was still continuing to be in that imminent danger.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So, which is pretty wild because if a week ago she wasn't safe enough, but now because now she can't prove that Marcus is still putting their life in imminent danger, so it's fine now. March 8th of 2019. So we're going to jump from
4 months?
October of 2018 to March of 2019. Marcus filed a domestic violence injunction against Cassie's mom. He claimed that she was yelling at him and she had a gun. He also added that he's had access to Saylor this whole time, even though she lives with her mother and has no parenting plan figured out. But luckily, the judge saw through all of his bullshit and immediately shut it all down and denied it the same day.
Good.
2 months later, though, on May 7th, 2019, just 4 days before Cassie's 35th birthday, Marcus calls DCF to report Cassie for child abuse. Saylor is now 9 months old, and Marcus alleges that Cassie had a medical marijuana card and is drinking excessively. He then claimed that Saylor has a bruise on her forehead, that he didn't believe Cassie's story of Saylor getting the bruise while crawling, because to him, that's just unbelievable.
At 9 months old?
At 9 months old.
Don't babies walk around that time?
No, they're crawling around that time, walking. I mean, some babies can walk at 9 months old, but this is the only child in the house, so it's not mimicking other babies. 9 months old is a crawling age. We're starting to pull up on stuff and like cruise furniture at that age, but we're not freely walking on our own.
Yeah. And also,
it's
not that I crawl frequently, but I feel like I'm worried about where the hell my hands are going. I'm not bumping into shit.
And also, judge me away for this, but every single one of you parents has done this, and I know you have. Don't try to deny it. Listen,
your head on it.
There's at least 1 to 2 times while you have a baby that you are walking through a doorway and you just their head straight into the door frame, and you feel real bad. But it's happened to all of us, okay? So a bruise on the forehead is not that crazy, because
my mama.
Furniture cruising, walking through doors, any of that, I get it.
I mean, shit happens, dude.
It does. But it's just wild because he's all, that's just unbelievable. That just can't happen. Babies can't get bruises when they're crawling. So he's just like, this is a ridiculous story.
Okay.
And just a little 2 weeks after that call for the DCF report about Cassie, Marcus made... So 2 weeks after he made that phone call, he filed a petition for paternity determination and other relief. Basically, he was asking for full custody of Saylor. And the paternity determination is something that is done early on in custody cases because you have to determine paternity in order to prove that going forward. It just makes it easier. There's just a lot with it. It's kind of stupid, but I get it. And so now I need to tell you what he claimed. And this is going to go in 2 parts. So first, I'm going to give you the overall narrative that was written in the report by the DCF worker. The narrative is, Saylor lives with her mother and maternal grandmother. Grandma has a significant criminal background and had children removed from her custody in the past. Mom has a medical marijuana card. In addition to marijuana, Mother also drinks excessively. Mother is often drunk at night while Saylor is in her care. Mother sometimes drives while intoxicated and Saylor is in the vehicle with her. Mother has a history of DUIs. Saylor has a significant bruise on her forehead at this time, and Mother stated that Saylor sustained the bruise while she was crawling. These are concerns that this may not be the actual cause of the bruise. So DCF took what he was telling them and put the general narrative broken down like that. And that's the gist of his phone call and why he wants the temporary relief. Okay. This filing then goes on to state, and I am so sorry that this is a bit wordy, but it's worth it.
I'm ready.
I just want you to hear his audacity in its fullness.
His pockets.
Shared parental responsibility would be detrimental to the minor child in this case. It would be in the best interest of the parties' minor child for the court to award the father sole parental responsibility and majority time sharing of the minor child, with the mother having a safety-focused time sharing plan designed to include safety measures, including supervised time sharing, to make sure the minor child is safe while on time sharing with the mother. In the event that the court awards shared potential responsibility, it is in the best interest of the minor child for the court to award father ultimate decision-making for parenting decisions if the parties do not agree. Award the father majority time sharing of the minor child, and award a supervised safety-focused time sharing plan for the mother. If the father has incurred attorney fees and costs in this case, and the mother should be required to pay for the father's attorney fees and cost in this case. And my favorite word that used so much in all of these things, wherefore, the father respectfully requests that the court render a judgment adjudicating the petitioner as the father of the subject minor child, awarding the father sole parental responsibility of the minor child in the alternative shared parenting with father having ultimate decision making. awarding the father majority time of sharing of the minor child, and requiring that the mother's time sharing be supervised at all time. And grant the father all further temporary and permanent relief consistent with the father's petition.
What the fuck, dude? That's a lot.
Basically,
That was a lot.
he wants
Full
Cassie
custody.
to be supervised in all of her visits, have no say in any parenting decisions, and he gets allowed to do everything and be everything.
And she has to pay.
And she has to pay all of his attorney fees, even though he makes more money. But we're going to get into that in a second.
Bitch.
So, I want to mention that around the time of Marcus filing that,
Yeah.
the Department of Revenue was addressing him paying child support.
Okay.
And so on May 29th, Cassie is served with court documents. And in the state of Florida, you have 20 days to respond to
court documents.
Okay. And you have 45 days to disclose the mandatory documents for the hearing, whatever you're being brought for. It's very important. That is going to go a long way in here.
20 days, 45 days. Got it.
But Marcus apparently thought Cassie was taking too long, because a week later, a notice of production was sent to Cassie's job and another one to Cassie saying she had 15 days to produce all of her financials and health insurance documents. And on June 18th, 2019, Cassie gets an attorney and filed a counter petition that basically suggested, instead of all of Marcus's sole father parenting, things like that the best interests for both of them to have shared responsibility, but Cassie having ultimate decision making on education, healthcare, and day-to-day needs.
Okay.
So we have two cases going on. We have the custody case, and then we have the Child Support Department of Revenue case.
Yes.
And we're going to be bouncing back and forth between these two.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
And if you are answering this later, just tell me to shut up. In one of the documents, you stated that her mother has had children removed from her before. Is this accurate?
So I tried to dig into that a little bit.
Okay.
And I couldn't really find a lot. So as we go through this, not to taint your guys' view on this, but Marcus does and says a lot of things to make himself look better,
Oh, like a narcissist.
Yeah, he's very much a narcissist. He's
We
very
had
much
no
trying
idea.
a lot of sleight of hand of... He will present him looking like a monster, but then he will also deflect onto Cassie's mom and try to make her look. So I do think that there might be a little bit of weight to Marcus's accusations against Cassie's mom, because there is a moment where Cassie doesn't talk to her mom for an entire year, and Marcus tries to use videos of Cassie's mom against her and sends to the attorney. I'm not entirely sure, and I didn't overly dig on their relationship like that.
Yeah.
Because her mom's background is her mom's background, and it really doesn't come into play for much of the other stuff. So if it would have come in more into play, and it would have gotten bigger, I would have probably dug harder and would have been able to find stuff.
Yeah.
But
so what I'm thinking is, like, he brought that information to a judge to begin with, and he was like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
And then DCF decided to write it, probably because they didn't want to do their own research.
Well, it was written in the report,
DCF
and like he claimed
do their
it.
job.
Yeah. So where it was written with theirs, it was like his narrative. That was the narrative that he was giving them. So they wanted it recorded because he said it.
That's fair.
So I'm not entirely sure on that.
Yeah. I feel like
it also could be she got kids removed when her personal kids when they were younger, and so this is 20 years ago.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if it wasn't brought up further, if there wasn't a further investigation, I'm assuming it has absolutely fucking nothing to do with it.
Like when Dante brought up Kelsey Schelling's dad being abusive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also with how close their family is with their group chats, things like that, I kind of doubt it. Like, every once in a while, you just stop talking to your parents for this or that reason. It happens.
And who knows, her attorney could have suggested it because of how hard Marcus was going against her mom.
Maybe.
And Marcus and her mom did not like each other. They would get into it.
I can only imagine why.
Yeah. So, because the documents for her financials and the insurance, that is the Department of Revenue case.
Okay.
The custody case is where all of these parenting plans and all the other stuff is coming in.
Okay.
So we're going to hop back into the custody type parental stuff. So on June 18th, 2019, Cassie gets an attorney and files a counter petition that suggested what was in the best interest for Saylor and both of them as parents.
Okay.
And it was for them to have shared responsibility, but Cassie having ultimate decision making on education, healthcare, and day-to-day needs, extracurriculars, mental health, all of that. And she wanted the majority of the time, which makes sense since Saylor has only ever been with her. Mm-hmm. And Marcus should pay child support, and she's going to pay her attorney, even though she can't really afford it, but Marcus can afford it, so he should actually be pitching in a little bit here. Mm-hmm. And so, just a mom trying to co-parent in the best interests of the child. And on June 19th, there's so much that happens.
Are we still in 19?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We are still in 2019.
Okay.
So Saylor's almost won.
Mm-hmm.
So on June 19th, Cassie's attorney files an objection to request for production of documents, which was basically objecting Marcus wanting that financial info early. Mm-hmm. And 2 hours after that, Marcus files an amended request for production of documents. And Marcus is really trying to rush these financial documents, and there's a reason for that. So Marcus has a hearing with the Department of Revenue on July 10th, and Cassie doesn't have to have her financials in until July 15th, which means Marcus won't have all the financial info on Cassie on time, so that he doesn't have to pay as much child support in his mind.
So he's trying to say she actually makes a lot more money than what she's said. I want to make sure of that so I don't have to pay more.
Yes. So what does Marcus do next? He files an objection to the hearing with the Department of Revenue stating everything I just said above, but it didn't work for him and it wasn't granted.
Okay.
So on July 8th, so 2 days before his child support hearing, mm-hmm. he files his financial documents for the child support hearing. And I don't know what he was thinking, but his numbers were all over the place. Not to mention, he only lists one of his companies for his self-employment, which was Pen Air. He didn't list his 3D Visual Solutions company that he had registered in March of 2017.
What a dipshit.
He also, took his cars and something else and, listed their, brand new off-the-lot price instead of, what they were actually worth or what he owed on them. And so, just wild. But
that doesn't make sense. You think you would want to put that they are actually less, so you don't you've got this.
It's saying that he has more debt.
Yeah, so that he doesn't have as much available money to use.
I guess that makes a lot more sense. Ugh.
But luckily, a judge saw right through him. And on July 10th, Marcus was ordered to pay $843.49 in child support a month.
That's not that bad.
Plus,
$168.70
a month in retroactive child support until $5,552.42 was paid back as well. This came out to $1,012.19 a month. And that was a massive hit to Marcus and probably pissed him right the fuck off.
I've seen worse, but I've also seen much better. So, okay.
And power that with his narcissistic ass.
Yeah. Where did this take place? Florida.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
so sorry.
For your singing Florida?
Yeah. Anyway.
Weirdo. I don't know exactly what the housing, what they pay down there. I don't know what economy looks like down there. I imagine it's
He
Florida.
doesn't have a rent or a mortgage. I'll get into that later.
What a shitbag. Never mind.
We'll get there.
And he owns 2 companies.
Supposedly.
And multiple cars.
Supposedly.
I have something that he can have.
What?
Completely for free.
This?
These fucking hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I like that. He likes free, so that works. Okay. So. Now Marcus owes a fuckload of money every month.
He owes a fucking
He owes a fuckload of money every month.
Yeah. That could be her rent.
It could be her rent if he pays it. So, about 3 weeks before their scheduled court date for the custody stuff, Cassie's attorney filed a motion to compel because Marcus was attempting to hide bank statements and loans. So he's basically attempting to bury a whole bunch of financial stuff to make Cassie look like she has more money than he does.
How crazy.
Yeah. Then, on September 20th, a hearing was held at Marcus's request for temporary relief. At this hearing, Marcus's attorney submitted 4 documents. The first 2 were about child support. One was just the breakdown of what he was paying, and the other was showing that he had made payments equaling over $2,000 2 weeks before this hearing. Because, trying to pay down that retroactive balance, and he's showing his good faith.
Oh my god.
Then,
I'm such a good guy because I pay my child support.
Oh, keep that energy for this next line.
Oh,
then
girl,
he added a selfie that Cassie took of him, her, and Saylor in the hospital when Saylor was born. Which was, weird, but, pictures are allowed to be admitted, but you'll understand, what kind of pictures are supposed to be admitted. It was kind of him being
over a year old, bitch.
It was kind of him being like, look at me, I'm such a good parent.
I was there when she was born.
Yes. Then he submitted a signed order. And what was this signed order, you asked? Well, it was the dismissal of the temporary restraining order that Cassie got back in 2018. You know, the one that got dismissed a week later? Which was basically, I'm guessing, his version of being like, look, I'm not really a bad guy because a judge dismissed it a week later. The things he attaches to filings make him look so bad, and it's the narcissist in him that makes him think that he's painting the other person in a bad light.
Yeah.
So he was basically trying to get everything dismissed, his hearing, pushed out and delayed because he's a good dad.
Ew.
And he shouldn't have to be paying child support because he just paid $2,000.
That's not how it works, bruh.
No. But let's talk about what Cassie submitted at this hearing.
Ugh. Okay.
So Cassie also submitted photos, but her photos were of her house and Marcus's house. In the pictures of Cassie's house, you can tell a child lives there. There's a crib and toys in the bathroom and, in the living room. But Marcus's house, on the other hand, looked like a child had never even set foot in it.
It's a bachelor pad.
Oh, yeah.
Like Barney from How I Met Your Mother's bachelor
Not that
pad?
nice, but essentially.
Got it.
I mean, it looks like a single guy lives there. I mean, there's furniture and other stuff like that, but it doesn't look like there's a child it doesn't look like anyone lives there, to be honest. So, but, like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
You're damn right.
And Cassie submitted way more pictures of her house than Marcus's house.
Actual good evidence.
Yes.
That you can physically see.
This is the example of photos you should submit at this time because it's showing the living area of the child. Yeah.
I wonder how new those pictures of Marcus's house was. How recent those pictures of his house were.
I think that they were all right before this happened because there's only 3 pictures of his house. Obviously, there's more of Cassie's house because she has more access to it. But yeah,
I'm just surprised she got those pictures.
I know. So am I. I'm impressed that she got those pictures as well.
So
she also submitted a shared parenting plan and an addendum to shared parenting. And the shared parenting plan that she submitted, so like Marcus's demanding all access, he gets everything, this was her version. And she wanted final decision making for everyday stuff, school, sports, activities, doctors, all of that. And she wanted communication to go through Talking Parents. And Talking Parents is a court-monitored app for co-parenting. So all of your communication goes through that. And it is actually, monitored by the court itself. And attorneys, judges, lawyers, they can all pull it in real time with timestamps. You can't delete things out of it, any of that. So it's very much, it's an awesome tool to have. And he can't gaslight. It really just takes away all of the shittiness. Can't hide anything. And the addendum was just laying out how everything would go. And it said that once Marcus had adequate housing and living area for Saylor, As long as all of those were met, the timeshare would start on September 27th, and Marcus would have Saylor every other weekend from Friday at 6 p.m. through Sunday till 6 p.m., with the exchange spot being the Walmart in Destin, unless otherwise agreed upon. No special holiday schedule, just follow the normal timeshare. And then she also included a copy of the report that Marcus made against her back in May about her medical marijuana card and drinking. And Marcus didn't submit a parenting plan to the judge at that hearing. Mm-hmm. But he submitted one sometime between that hearing and October 2nd. And his plan outlined shared parental rights, and an every other weekend arrangement was fine, but he added Wednesdays after school till 8. And all major decisions have to be decided together. All the things Cassie wanted sole decision making of, they had to do it together. And if they couldn't agree, they would use a third party to help. Like, by a third party, it is like a mediator,
Yeah.
An attorney, a judge, something like that, okay?
I'm assuming not an attorney
Well, not
or
a
a
judge. Well, like, the attorney can help, but, like, we're not to the judge part yet. So the third party could be mediator.
I would assume it would probably be, like, a mediator of
There
sorts.
was, like, there's other boxes they could check, but it was, like, a mediator and something else.
Okay.
This part's really weird how he does this.
Okay.
So, and if they can't agree, they'll use that third party, but if the third party doesn't work, then naturally this is where it goes to the court. Uh-huh. He brings it back around to it goes back to them being the final decision making. So if they can't come to an agreement, they go to a third party. If the third party can't help them come to an agreement, the ultimate decision goes back to the two of them.
But they can't come to an agreement. How does that fucking make
then
sense?
Then it goes back to a mediator.
So it's just this.
Yes,
can't even say
and
the fucking word.
A vicious circle.
Thank you.
Like it doesn't make any sense. Like he just made it this vicious circle that nobody wins and he's going to get his way no matter what. And he only wanted communication through text and email, no talking parents program. Then he listed a bunch of other stuff, and none of this stuff was listed in Cassie's. Okay. Like having addresses and phone numbers and a full itinerary for any trips Cassie wanted to take Saylor on with a minimum of 72 hours notice before the trip with all this information. They must maintain a positive relationship, have to respect differences, and they have to be courteous to each other and foster love for the other parent through the child. All of those stipulations contained the ending of, especially in front of the child. So he wasn't just asking Cassie to be cordial and civil in person. He was also asking Cassie to be like this when he wasn't around. His entire, submitting of it was exhausting to read, to be completely honest. And he even goes on to say, sometimes Saylor won't want to participate in time sharing. So the parent must explain that the other parent loves them and has a right, need, and desire to time sharing. He even goes as far as requesting a photo of the other parent be kept in the child's room at all times at the opposite house. He went on and on. No discussing parental business at drop-offs. No quizzing the kid about the other parent's house. No being sad when they leave. No keeping secrets. No asking who you want to be with. No saying ask your dad for it. Not being allowed to call a step-parent mom or dad if one ever comes in the picture. No listening to phone conversations between parent and child. And if Cassie breaks any of these rules, she would deal with the court. But also keep in mind, Marcus's dumbass doesn't realize that if he breaks any of those rules, he also is going back to court.
Yeah. I have a quick comment here. You cannot control a child from being sad at a drop-off.
No, the parent is not allowed to pull a sad, long face at a drop-off.
Ew.
We're not even done.
Could you imagine, though, having to go drop off your kid and just sit there like, huh.
So, obviously, we are very deep into parental alienation type vibes here.
Yeah.
And some parents who their custody is a nasty battle, and there are parents who will cry and make big theatrics and antics in front of the child about them leaving.
guess that
I'm
makes
going to be
sense.
so sad without you next week. It's so lonely and sad when you're not here. I hate it when you go to dad's. That is what he doesn't want
Person
allowed.
that just came up in my mind, I'm not going to say it out loud. We will talk about it later.
But that's what that means. Yes.
That makes so much sense. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't have kids. My dad didn't even live in the same state, so we'd never had to go through that when I was a kid. So it's just like,
let me tell you, you remember you know this TikTok video of the mom with her arm through the door and that teenage boy is sitting so calmly and he's like, I don't want to go with her. And she's just like screaming and the officer's like, ma'am, and she's just that.
That makes complete
like that's an
sense.
extreme version of this, but that's what we're talking about.
That's totally fair.
So
what a dipshit. He doesn't realize like that goes against him too, my guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you remember how Cassie was like, and we'll just keep holidays the normal weekend schedule, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what we're going to do. Nah. This motherfucker, every single holiday, like, I'm not kidding you. I fucking think I saw Columbus Day in there, dude. I'm not kidding you right now. Okay, I think fucking Columbus Day was in there. All right. He had something for...
Flag Day?
I'm pretty fucking sure Flag Day's in it, all right?
Earth Day!
Yes.
We're gonna go plant trees!
So, isn't that...
Arbor Day?
Arbor Day?
Probably. I mean, what are you going to do on
trees for
Earth
both
Day?
Talk
Plant
about
more
the earth,
trees.
man. Anyway, so like his parenting thing was 24 pages long.
Fuck
like
off.
I feel like Homeboy and his attorney sat down and went through the entire like shared parenting plan and was like, how many of these boxes can we check to use in this?
I guarantee the attorney did it just because he's like, I want more money. I'm okay with more money.
So, and it's so much. And one of the other things I want to point out that I did not list thoroughly through in here is one of the very big points of contention. It's gonna come up later. Mental health evaluations or seeing a therapist for Saylor. The other parent has to be informed before they are taken to see one, and they have to be notified of it. There's a very big point of contention in these shared parenting plans, and it comes up later. So just remember that is a no.
On his half.
Anybody. If Cassie takes her to a therapist or a child psychologist, she has to notify Marcus before she does it and can do it. He has to do the same as well. It's to prevent
You would never fucking take her to one of those. Let's be real. Bitch, what?
Oh, honey, just wait.
God damn it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Vamonos, I'm ready.
So on October 2nd, a judge decided that Marcus's parenting plan sounded better than Cassie's.
Fuck off.
And he adopted it into a temporary shared parenting order. And although the judge did change a couple things, he didn't change much. He did say that talking parents had to be used for communication.
Good.
So we loved that. So Marcus got a win, but it wasn't enough for him. He was still making Cassie's life hell. And at the end of October, Cassie was trying to get a response from Marcus about trading weekends so she could go out of town to a family member's baby shower. And he was being a jerk about it. Basically, he refused to switch, and Cassie offered him an extra weekend and extra time. And he demanded equal time. Week for a week. Not an extra weekend. Cassie did end up getting to take this trip. And it was over Halloween that this trip happened. And so on Halloween, Cassie sent a bunch of videos and pictures of Saylor to Marcus, just trying to show him she's having fun. She's having a great time. Thank you so much for letting me do this. Like, I appreciate it. One of those things, like, don't you want to see how happy your daughter is and she's having fun? Mm-hmm. His response was, I don't care. Huh. He was like, this is supposed to be my time, so I don't really care to see her having fun and doing stuff. I don't care.
So basically, he wanted this time with his daughter.
Because it was his time.
But the only reason he even fought to get this time with her was just to piss her off.
Yeah, like...
Not actually to give a shit about Saylor and spend time with his daughter.
And you're going to hear that in a second.
Fantastic.
So... Cassie was just like, I just wanted to show you she's having fun and enjoying herself. And he's like, she's supposed to be with me, so I don't care to be watching her having fun when she's supposed to be with me.
Bitch, you agreed to this.
So then, Cassie was also texting him later after this trip about how daycare is going to be closed on a Monday, and she needed him to take Saylor because she had to work.
Probably for bad
And he was like, "That's not my time." And she was like, "Dude, can you please just like get her? Like, I need your help." And he was like, I'll only do it if you say that you can't handle Saylor and you can't care for her. If you admit that, then I'll take her." Like, legitimately texting. So all of that took place between October 25th and November 5th. In January of 2020, Marcus's attorney withdrew from the case because there was no more legal filings happening. And so Marcus is now representing himself. And then in March, Cassie realized a text didn't send to Marcus about a trip that they were taking. And so she kind of had to tell Marcus a little bit last minute. And she was like, "I'm really sorry about this. But you know how if he has every other weekend?" And then so she can take like 10 days at a time without imposing on his time. And she goes, "But I'm still going to have Saylor wherever you want her by 6 p.m. on the 20th.
Okay.
His response is wild. "Do you get off by pissing me off? How many times am I going to have to tell you, in all caps, there is a court order in place that tells you where and what time we need to meet to exchange Saylor. 3 exclamation points. We're out of caps now. How many times I got to tell you to leave me alone and stop harassing me? I don't need your advice. I don't need your opinion nor your feedback. All you do is lie. I don't have time to waste with you." He goes on, "Are you delusional or something?" In parentheses, rhetorical. "You're clouded by your mother and lied on a sworn affidavit just to keep using drugs and drinking. And on top of that, get my daughter from me for over a year. How in the hell would I want to have anything to do with you? The only thing I want with you is to put you in jail for crimes you've committed. So until then, leave me the fuck alone." Remember, we're on a court-ordered parenting talking app.
This literally has nothing to do with what she sent him. What is he currently trying to pull? What is he trying to do here?
Like, he's just trying to point out anytime that she doesn't stick to the approved parenting plan or anytime she tries to go outside of it.
But it also seemed like he's trying to like make this narrative of like, "You're harassing me, you just want me, leave me alone" kind of situation.
Yes. And yeah, that's a very big narrative with him as it continues. And you're going to see that.
Great.
So it's just like, do you even want to spend time with your child?
Right?
Like, do you even want to spend time with your child?
I doubt it. I mean, he didn't for the first year. He literally just did this to piss her
And
off.
like when she's asking to exchange and times, and she's always willing to give him more time. She was even trying to get him. There's a weekend that she was trying to get him to take Saylor. It was giving him extra time with Saylor. And she's even pointing out, like, "I'm giving you my time. I'm giving away my time to you to help me out to make this work. Like, can we do this?" And he's still like, "No, I only want her on my time."
This whole thing seems weird. Like, and don't get me wrong, I understand, like, things come up, things happen, but, like, you know how he is. Why would you even offer it? Like,
well, it's because she's in the court. These apps are all monitored by the court so they can pull
I
everything.
understand.
So she is actually doing everything she's supposed to be doing. If she needs that weekend to go to that baby shower, naturally, you exchange a weekend and you work together. Like, my sister and her ex-husband, they are wonderful co-parents. We joke all the time that they are much better co-parents than they were married parents. Like, there's work better as friends. It's scary sometimes how much better they work this way. So I went out there for a spring break. That was his spring break. But he totally let us have my nephew for like 5 days. He came by the house and I was like, "Thank you so much for like switching your time and stuff like that." And he was like, "You're never in town. I get it. It's fine." So like some co-parenting relationships were really easy where that exchange just happens and they flip-flop
no,
their
I
time.
get that. I totally get that. What I'm saying is, why even bother asking him, though?
Because it's showing her good faith. It's showing
Fuck
her doing
good faith.
But
Fuck this dude.
You have to play the game if you want to win in the courts. You have to play, even though the abuser isn't playing the game and they aren't playing by the rules, you have to play by the rules. She's playing by the rules.
This is why, another reason, just to add on to the fucking list of why I don't want kids.
Yeah.
Period.
So she has to play the game. It sucks. It's stupid. I get what you're saying. That's also why we're doing this episode. Like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
That this is being allowed to happen.
Yeah.
So, you know what's coming.
Ugh.
You know what's coming.
I know.
The pandemic hit.
Oh, that's not what I thought was coming. Gosh.
Well, it's COVID.
Yay.
So, Cassie and her attorney made the decision to keep Saylor at Cassie's house.
During COVID.
Yes, when COVID hit and the lockdown started. Saylor's healthy. But it's just what's best. And now at this point, Cassie claims she hasn't seen or spoken to her mom in a year. And that's important because Marcus was pissed that Cassie was taking a worldwide pandemic so seriously. And he said that his house was just as safe as Cassie's. And said that he was filing a motion with the judge when he got back into town. And Cassie said, go ahead, but the courts are closed and they're not taking any filings. And Saylor is staying at my house.
Have the best fucking time doing that, sweetie.
Yeah. And Cassie just kept repeating, this is about keeping Saylor safe. You can FaceTime her. You can come talk to her from outside of her bedroom. Like, it's just, I'm not risking this right now. Okay.
Also, I understand your house is safe, but you're out of town, my guy. Did you never watch Contagion, bitch? Right there. Right there.
Yes, and that's the other reason. He travels all the time for work.
Uh-huh.
So then Marcus just keeps sending Cassie videos of her mom and then sends them to the attorney of Cassie's mom. And Cassie goes, I don't know what you're doing or what the point of this is. She goes, but I haven't talked to my mom in like a year.
Where is he getting these videos from?
I don't know. And I couldn't actually play the videos or see what they were. I'm going to assume that they are just like her mom being ridiculous or something else.
Okay.
But like, he's just trying to use it as like, you can't stay at home because like, I don't trust your family. And like, and is trying to like put it to where it's not safe for Saylor to be with her during this time.
Okay.
And so he's just pushing it like, my house is fine. Like, you can do this. Blah, blah, blah. And he just kept referring to the plan with the court. And then Cassie was just so over it. And she finally goes, you know that I do know where you live now, right? Like, you do know I know you're lying. You know that we know the same people. And I know for a fact you're living out of a hotel and the construction trailers. She goes, so I know damn well my kid is not coming over there where, I'm sorry, you're using a trough for a makeshift whatever?
Shower, probably.
No idea.
Bathtub.
But like,
who knows?
for the fact that Cassie to finally like lose her shit and be like, all right, motherfucker.
Yeah, she's over it.
We're not doing this. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, Saylor is not staying there. I'm happy to go back to court with you.
Good.
And Marcus responds with, stop nagging me and leave me alone. Why are you always harassing me?
Okay. God, you nag me so much.
Cassie's attorney also withdrew from the case in July due to the inactivity in the case. Courts being closed, you can't do filings, all that jazz. And over the next year, Marcus and Cassie continue in the vicious cycle. Filings and then going and filings and going. And of course, Marcus hasn't been paying child support. But a whole year has been going by without their paternal case moving, doing anything. And so the court moves to dismiss the case due to lack of activity. Because they have their shared parenting plan. No one's getting file happy anymore. Everything seems to be fine. So
but if he's not paying child support, why are they not looking into that?
Because the child support is on the different docket.
It's so dumb.
Yes. So basically, because there's no activity in that case, they're just going to move to dismiss it. And it's not like active in the courts. And they're not having hearings and all this stuff anymore. And so they set a hearing date to close the pending case.
Okay.
For the fall. But on July 13th, 2021, Cassie files an emergency pickup order for Saylor. Because Marcus was supposed to bring Saylor back on July 11th. But he didn't. And he wouldn't answer any communication with Cassie. And...
Hold on. He was supposed to be back July 11th.
With Cassie.
She filed it on...
the 13th. Now, Saylor is back in her custody when it's filed, but it still has to get filed.
Okay.
So... that part is a little confusing. It took me a second to figure that out.
Okay.
And in this filing on the 13th, she revealed that Marcus had constantly been bragging to her about fleeing to Brazil with Saylor because he still had his passport And he, in fact, has dual citizenship in Brazil. So,
Is he from there?
yes.
Got it.
So although Saylor, like I said, was back in Cassie's custody by the 13th, she still needed that documented. And because another reason why she documented this on the 13th was because on the July 12th, Marcus filed 6 motions in one day. 6 motions. All right, you ready?
No.
So, we have motion to dismiss. He asked the court to dismiss their own hearing because he states he wasn't given enough notice. The hearing was set for September 13th. This is July 12th. This is July 12th. He has almost 3 months.
2.
2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Motion for psychological evaluation. He asked the court for a psych eval on Cassie. There's no evidence attached or allegations, but they need to do one. Motion for temporary custody. He asked for full custody. No exhibits are attached. No allegations are attached. And the only, he wants DCF to pick Saylor up from Cassie and give him to her.
Okay.
He motioned for cease and desist. He asked that Cassie not say his name ever again. Motion
Can you do that? Oh my God.
Motion for case transfer. He asked the case to be moved to Santa Rosa County. Motion to request daycare attendance. This just says that the respondent initially keeps minor child from daycare, so daycare won't notice and report the bruises on the child. Basically, he's accusing Cassie of keeping Saylor out of daycare, so daycare doesn't have to be a mandatory reporter of the child abuse that Cassie
She's been with him.
inflicts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
So, Cassie retained an attorney on July 15th, and her attorney sends out DCF employee subpoenas on the 21st.
Okay.
On July 22nd, Marcus takes Saylor out of state for a mental evaluation and doesn't tell Cassie about it. That's a no-no in the parenting plan. Remember?
I remember.
That's a no-no.
I remember.
And also, kind of shocking, but not shocking in a second.
Oh, God.
But don't y'all worry. Marcus didn't let July come to an end without filing 7 more motions. Homeboy submitted a 6-page violating parenting plan motion. He asked to be awarded full custody and attaches the text messages from earlier that I've kind of gone over with you guys. That'll make him look like an ass.
You're harassing me.
Mm-hmm. And about the weekend exchanges. 3 pages on not exchanging the child for Father's Day. He includes text messages of him looking like an ass again. Not providing change of address. That's 1 page. 6 pages for not providing an itinerary for the trip over Halloween. And then all those text messages of him being an asshole. Like the videos being sent and him being like, I don't care about my kid. Then 6 pages for not exchanging the daughter for Halloween weekend. Even though they arranged. And 1 page not providing change of address. We filed this twice. And 1 page of changing the child's daycare. He wants to change the daycare. So, that's 13 motions in 1 month. 13. But he wasn't done.
Bro.
But he wasn't done.
Okay.
On August 3rd, he filed a motion for mental and eye care, claiming Cassie was neglecting and physically abusing Saylor, according to that out-of-state therapist. He included more text messages. I don't know why he keeps doing that, because he's an ass in all of them. But don't worry, though, because Cassie's attorney on the 4th of July filed a 31-page motion of contempt against Marcus, and it basically outlines all the way he is in contempt of his own parenting plan that he submitted. Him refusing to give Saylor back, him keeping her for 2 weeks with 0 communication, taking her out of state without telling the other parent or giving 72-hour notice. He also took her for a mental health evaluation without telling Cassie.
You just said all of that so fucking fast. Calm down.
Sorry. But literally, he outlined a 24-page parenting plan to trip Cassie up.
And he violated it
And
himself.
he violated it in 8 different ways himself.
Of course he did.
So, around this time, Cassie created a GoFundMe. because she really needed help paying for these attorney fees. I mean, it was getting out of hand.
Fucking 13 motions
In 1 month, yeah. And she also wrote a lot about how toxic their relationship was and how he had continued to control her even after she had gotten away. And she really put everything out there. I mean, she aired all the dirty laundry, where she went wrong, where she's going right, how she's trying to be a good mom.
Good for her.
I mean, she's just trying to keep her daughter safe.
Yeah.
And so the court finally issues a hearing for October 1st, 2021. The judge is fucking fed up, and he's all right, I want to hear all this shit in one go. Let's go.
Yeah.
In September, Marcus filed a motion in his child support docket to reinstate his passport, saying he isn't a flight risk and never has been.
Oh,
and
because he hasn't paid child support. They
took his license and his
revoked
passport.
his
and shit.
passport.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, and he has never been a flight risk.
Right.
But he also needs dental work done, and his dentist is in Brazil.
Okay.
On the same day, he also files a motion to dismiss his child support payments altogether. And I quote, calling it unconstitutional, and that Cassie just wanted the money for herself. Isn't it just...
Be so fucking for real right now.
So fucking for real. Like, isn't it entertaining how in the same day, he files something and then he's all, let's wait a few hours and see if they notice I do it again. It's like he files something in one case and then files something in the other one.
Like, this is probably all he thinks about all day long. Maybe he needs to see a psychiatrist for, like, a hyperfixation. Maybe he has, like, an autism.
Apparently, homeboy needed to be an attorney because he would have done a good job. Well, not a good job. I think he just enjoys court and motions. Like, I just feel like he enjoys the court process.
I think he's just a dick. Maybe
That
lonely. Too. He said he works construction. How does he have time?
How does he have time?
Let's be real here.
Well, every time he comes back into town, he files all the motions. So he's got all that time out of town to think about all of his motions.
Maybe. I'm just saying, every time I've ever been to Florida, there's so much construction going on.
Yeah, it's just so funny how much he files things in the same day thinking nobody will do anything about it. So on October 7th, the judge finally hears all of Marcus's and Cassie's motions. Okay. Marcus's $15 billion and Cassie's 31-page motion on contempt. And the court would deny all of Marcus's motions by October 25th, which is prime. Cassie's order of contempt was partially granted, which is great. And the judge changed the pickup spot to the Walmart in Destin, like, permanently. Like, I know that we had that set in there before, but that's just where we're going to stay.
Okay.
And Marcus was ordered to pay attorney fees. And I know this pissed him the fuck off, but he didn't file any more motions.
Weird.
He didn't even file a motion when Cassie filed her attorney fees in January of 2022.
Okay.
But on March 18th, 2022, the court ordered Marcus to pay $5,920 in attorney fees within 30 days. And this is a huge win for Cassie, because for the first time, Marcus is being held accountable in real time.
Uh-huh.
But we know this just really, really, really pissed Marcus off.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we didn't know how much this had pissed Marcus off. So, on Sunday, March 27th, 2022, Cassie left her house in Navarre, Florida, where she was living with her dad, Andrew.
Uh-huh.
And it was just before 7 p.m., and she went to meet Marcus at Juana's, a local restaurant at the boat docks in Navarre. It's a very public place. Yes, they were meeting at the Walmart in Destin. This place was not far from where Cassie was living. I believe this is like 2 minutes, and where they had been meeting recently. It is 7 p.m. on the boat docks. At this time is a very popular banging. We have volleyball leagues playing out there in the sand. We've got people sitting at the bar. We got people bringing their boats in for their night. You know, there's a lot of people.
Right.
So, she told her dad that she would be right back. And she really meant it. It was only a couple minutes away. But Andrew fell asleep, and when he woke up 3 hours later, Cassie and Saylor weren't home. And he kind of started to panic. He was surprised. There's nowhere else they were going to go. So he started to call Cassie. And
she was picking up Saylor.
Yes, she was picking Saylor up.
Got it.
So he started calling Cassie. But she wasn't answering. And wasn't answering and wasn't answering. Then he received a text from Cassie saying that she was having phone and car issues. But it was okay because she was going to stay the night with Marcus, and he was paying her to do some stuff around the house. So he wasn't totally convinced that all was well, but he didn't feel the immediate urge to call the police. At least not right away. So Monday morning, Cassie's dad and sister Raeann, they just keep calling her, and it's all going straight to voicemail. And Cassie's dad is calling Marcus over and over, and he isn't answering his phone, finally prompting the following text exchange between Andrew, Cassie's dad, and Marcus.
Andrew and Marcus.
Mm-hmm. Andrew is Cassie's dad.
Phone.
This is Marcus. Yes, this is a screenshot from Marcus's phone because it says Cassie's father at the top. So Marcus says, "Why you keep calling me?"
What you
Andrew,
want, bitch?
I haven't heard from Cassie. Is she with you?
Okay.
Marcus responds, "No. She was out of her mind last night. First with her car not working, then she said her phone had an issue and asked me to see if I could fix it. As I'm trying to see what's wrong with it, she kept getting mad at me like I was trying to look at her text messages, then asked for a ride home, and as we were getting close, she changed her mind because, quotes, you would flip out if you see her like that." And then he doesn't end quote that, he just dots it off. Then asked me to drop her off at, in parentheses, I don't know, Stacy, I think, but didn't want to tell me where the place is because I could, in quotes, go after Stacy. And asked me to just drop her off in the middle of nowhere in Destin that late in the night, in parentheses, with Saylor. I told her I wouldn't let Saylor go like that, and she flipped out. I left with Saylor. If she wants Saylor back next weekend, she will have to drive to me. So basically, Marcus is saying that he dropped Cassie off in the middle of Destin at night and took Saylor with him because Cassie was acting crazy and wanted to be dropped off in the middle of Destin at night.
The way it sounds is like he's trying to make it seem like she was like fucked up somehow.
Yeah, like on drugs and didn't want her dad to see it that way.
Or something.
Yes. And Cassie's dad replies, Stacy moved to Alabama a while ago. Cassie would never have you do that. Would never have you drop her off anywhere. Is her car at your house? Marcus goes, I'm not good with names. I'm not sure if it was Stacy. Either way, she didn't want to give me an address of a place to drop her and Saylor off. Why would her car be at my house? Andrew says, where did you exchange Saylor? Where is her car? And then the next day he replies, Navarre.
That's it?
Yeah. So on Monday, Cassie is officially reported missing. And her friends and family immediately began searching for her and posting on social media. And they managed to get a lot of traction and attention for Cassie right away. I mean, like instant. Like local media is picking up on this. And both her and Saylor's name are out there. Because also, like, Marcus is saying that he has Saylor, but no one's physically laid eyes on Saylor at this point. Mm-hmm. And so on Tuesday the 29th, Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office officially announces Cassie and Saylor is missing and endangered. They say Cassie's car was found at Navarre Beach and her purse was located inside. Her phone is missing, though.
Of course it is. I wonder.
Raeann, Cassie's sister, texts Marcus. And this is what she says. Is Saylor with you? Please, Marcus, this is not like my sister. She has been doing great and was supposed to start a new job. I hope you will at least cooperate with the police / let them know you have Saylor. She is now a missing person. And she did the, like, sad eye emoji.
Yeah.
Like the almost crying. And I'm just like, ma'am, Auntie's having a moment. And Marcus responded with, Saylor's with me. She wanted to be dropped off in the middle of nowhere in Destin with Saylor. I told her I wouldn't let Saylor go like that, to give me an address and I'd take them to it. Yeah, cops already called me and might call again for more questions. If they do, I will. Apparently, everybody will be asking me that. So I'll just copy and paste what I told your father and then sent the text message that I just read. So Wednesday, March 30th, it was announced that that 4-year-old Saylor was found safe in Birmingham, Alabama.
What?
She was found safe in Birmingham, Alabama with Marcus. Marcus was working on a house at that time in Birmingham. And they also interviewed Marcus at that time. And when they got to him, they had already had a lot of information that I've already told you guys about her disappearance. And so they knew he was lying to them. And they let him.
They let him lie.
They didn't tell him that they knew he was lying. They let him lie.
Okay.
And since Marcus does have partial custody of Saylor, they didn't take Saylor.
Oh, no.
And so the next day, Santa Rosa holds a press conference saying that Cassie's cell phone and credit card activity has been silent and that the investigation has expanded outside Santa Rosa and the FBI is now involved. And that they are intent on speaking to Marcus again because he was the last person to see Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
By Friday, April 1st, Crime Stoppers announced a $3,000 reward for information that helps solve the case. Search efforts were growing substantially, and Cassie's sister even reveals that she'd been in contact with Gabby Petito's mom.
Goddamn.
Yeah. So, like, just, offering support, any help, anything, making sure they're thinking of all the things and doing all the things.
So this was happening while Gabby Petito was also being searched for? Or was it after?
This is 2022. So we are after Gabby. Wasn't Gabby during the pandemic?
I don't remember. I didn't think
Yes.
so. I thought it was after the pandemic.
It was around that time. So it was after the Gabby Petito thing because she was talking to her.
I mean, she could have been talking to her during it.
What you got?
21.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so after.
a year later. Yeah, but we're all still going through all the Gabby Petito stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was still very
Didn't-
front and
didn't
center.
stop. Especially because, I mean, she wasn't found. She was searched for. Then Brian.
Yeah.
Enough. Go on.
I know. So, this is Friday, April 1st. That evening, it's announced that Marcus was arrested in Tennessee. I know, the states that just keep popping out of nowhere. So he was in Tennessee. He fled up there, and he had Saylor with him. And he was arrested on 3 charges related to Cassie's disappearance: tampering with evidence, giving false information concerning missing persons investigation, and destruction of evidence. He destroyed Cassie's phone.
Okay.
So that's where that charge is
Did
from.
they have like a GPS on him or some shit? Is that how they found him? Or was someone like just like watching him?
It was tips and yeah. They knew where he was. They didn't just
That's fair.
thanks for talking to us, sir. Bye. We're gonna leave your 4-year-old daughter with you, even though we're pretty sure you killed your ex-girlfriend. It's fine. So they left, but they didn't leave.
Got
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yep.
So he was actually arrested the 31st late evening, 11:30, almost midnight.
Hell
But
yeah.
they didn't break it till the next day. It just kind of was just a fun,
Yeah.
on top of the press conference. Sunday, April 3rd, it was announced that Cassie's body was found in a shallow grave in a barn in Alabama on Saturday night, on a property that Marcus had been working at. So Marcus had been working in this house, and about 100 feet away from the house was a barn.
So where he was being questioned at
Is where
she was right
her
fucking
body
there.
was literally 100 feet away in a shallow grave in the barn. And, of course, be prepared to be shocked, guys. Marcus fought extradition. Nancy Grace was even fucking confused by this shit. She goes, no, you do something in another state. You were found in another state. You go into court. They say, what is your name? You tell them your name. You confirm. They say they're extraditing. You go, why is this judge asking if he wants to be extradited? She goes, that's not a part of this.
Maybe they have to ask.
So yeah, so he basically was like, no.
Question. Are they extraditing him to Florida or Alabama? Because that's where they found her body. Do they have to do it in both states?
So yeah, we're getting there. I'm happy about you though right now.
I'm a genius.
So he fights his extradition, and it somehow worked, and it took him even longer to get back to Florida. So Florida is where we were extraditing him to.
Uh-huh.
And once back in Florida, Marcus was held in the Rosa County Jail. ultimately, Santa Rosa would have to drop the charges and extradite Marcus to Alabama, where Alabama will pick up the charges because that's where the body was found. I'm also curious if that is where everything took place because they're doing everything there instead of in Florida, you know?
Okay.
Because also where I go for this is Skylar Neese. Now, the murder and her body was in Pennsylvania, but they tried her in West Virginia. So, you know, that they're just... It came out that, like, Alabama was the best chances. Like, the FBI and everybody were like, Alabama's where this needs to be done.
I wonder if there was just no evidence in Florida except for her disappearance.
We'll get to... Because these charges are not the charges that he's going to trial for. So we'll get there. Okay?
Okay.
And the charge that he does get was so confusing, I had to make my sister explain it to me. So... Ultimately, Santa Rosa drops those charges, extradite to Alabama in October, where he would be indicted by a grand jury on kidnapping resulting in death.
Yeah?
Yes. That is it. That
Okay.
is his charge.
Wait, not murder.
Yeah. Kidnapping resulting in death. That is the charge. That's it. There's nothing else. That is the charge. He was indicted by a grand jury on kidnapping resulting in death. See, but it still carries a hella life sentence, death, or a life sentence, so that's fine. Let me talk about the autopsy while you think about that. Because it took 6 months for them to do her autopsy. And it wasn't because she was super decomposed. It wasn't because they weren't working with a lot. In fact, I keep bringing up Nancy Grace a lot. I'm sorry, guys. She discusses on her show how the conditions in that part of Alabama and the barn were really good to slow down decomp. Because it's a cool, like, it's not super hot and heat in that part of Alabama at that time of the year. And so...
What time of year was it?
March.
Okay.
Like, end of March, beginning of April. And in a shallow...
23.
22. And in a shallow grave in a barn with hay and stuff probably put on top of her, it was really good conditions to slow it all down. It kept her cool.
Okay. So he fucked up, is what you're saying.
No, he didn't. That's the hard part. It took them 6 months to do her autopsy. 6 months to go through everything just for the cause of death to be undetermined.
Fuck off.
That doesn't mean it wasn't homicide. It's just undetermined. Like, her toxicology report showed nothing. There's no signs on her. They cannot figure out how she died, which is why the charges are kidnapping resulting in death. So, like, what happened? What happened? Did he lock her in a trunk and she suffocated?
I feel like they would have been able to determine that, though.
But that would be
Because
kidnapping.
suffocation-
Yes.
Creates water in your lungs.
Yeah. So they cannot figure out
How she died.
how she died at all. But investigators are confident that Marcus was responsible for her death.
Well, obviously.
Yes. So Marcus was supposed to have a plea hearing before this, there was a bunch of plea hearings and trial dates supposed to start before this, like 4 or 5 of them.
I can't imagine trial's going to be easy for this man.
So Marcus was supposed to have a plea hearing in Pell City on August 21st and a trial on September 23rd in Asheville. But of course, in true Marcus fashion, he asked for a continuance again. Like, Homeboy has had like 4 or 5 continuances at this point. He also waived his right to a speedy trial really early on. Shocking. But, like, I also feel like there should be a set number of times of continuances that you can request before you're not allowed to anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, it's ridiculous. So, the new plea hearing date is January 15th, 2025. In Pell City, and January 27th, 2025 in Pell City for the trial.
Bitch, you're telling me this hasn't happened yet?
No, because the trial was supposed to be happening right now, which was why I was going to hold off on doing this episode because I saw how close trial was. And then I saw it got pushed again. And I was like, "Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this now." And then when I go through everything else and how many motions and things he likes to file, you get to that and you're just like, "Are you kidding me? Like, for this family to have to deal with him?" Like,
Okay.
Yes. So, here's to hoping that Marcus does not try to drag this out again for the sake of Cassie's family and friends. They deserve closure. They just want his reign of terror to be over. Silver lining, motherfucker's been held in jail this whole time.
Good. They won't give him bond?
No.
Good.
He's flight risk. Brazil. Dual citizenship.
Alabama, Tennessee. Tennessee is one of 2 states that border the most other states. He's going to go away.
Yeah. Like, they already caught him in so many different places. So that's not happening. Cassie's mom does have a Facebook page where she posts updates and she like actually screenshots all the court documents to it, which is super awesome, which is how I got updated so quickly on his continuances. And we'll have that linked below as well. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to tell you all something amazing that came from this horrible tragedy.
Okay, now I'm going to pause you.
Go ahead. That's why I wanted to go.
Why are they not doing another autopsy? Did they cremate her?
No.
Do we know?
I do not know. They did have her body for 6 months. They were trying. I don't know what else they are doing in terms of determining her cause of death. I have a feeling that there's a lot that's going to come out at trial because there's not a whole lot released in it. Like, even in what did get released is what I told you for her autopsy. It's just undeterminable.
I'm just saying.
I'm also wondering if they're keeping a lot of things quiet before trial because of how he is. I'm wondering if they're trying, like, because, I mean, Nancy Grace has already had a hold of this and everything else before we got up to here. So I'm wondering if trial, like, they're trying to keep things out of the public so that he can't try to stand on, like...
I mean, maybe, but unfortunately, if it's something that's going to be put into trial, his attorneys are going to have to know. Or him, if he's representing himself. Like, they're going to have to know about it one way or another.
Which is okay, and that can be done in there. But letting the public know about it, or her family know about it, I could see them not doing because of the way that Marcus does function. The public having any sway or anything before he goes to trial, he will use that.
Like, they're trying to do everything to not get a mistrial or...
Yes, because with the way he is, I could see that they are keeping a lot locked down.
Did you have something to say?
No, I was just going to say there might just be trying to avoid a mistrial.
I mean, that's totally valid. I don't know. I just really feel like, I hate to drop another case that we've worked on in here, but Kendrick, they did 3 separate autopsies.
Yeah.
And they have found something each time. Like, I know it sucks. That's not something you ever want to have to go through with your children. But it's
also
maybe it's
like,
going to be for the best.
Like
especially
Michael
if it's
Cochran.
gonna, yeah, especially if it's going to fucking put him behind bars, dude.
Yeah.
Like, for life.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did another autopsy or something. But yeah, that's definitely something I'm
maybe they already
about.
have been and they just haven't released it.
Which
I don't
true.
know, man.
I could see them super locking this up so that he can't pull any of his funny business.
Where's Saylor?
Saylor is with Cassie's family.
Okay.
So, I have a little blurb in there, I think. So, I want to tell you about something that's, like, really amazing that came out of this.
Okay.
And I love it so much when we can take a horrible, horrible tragedy and turn it into something that's going to help other people. And Cassie's family and friends worked very, very hard to get a new law made called the Cassie Carli law, or the Safe Exchange of Minor Children law. And it actually went into effect on July 1st, 2024, so just 2 months ago. And Cassie's law now requires there to be a safe pickup/drop-off location for high-risk family cases. They believe this could prevent this horrible tragedy happening again. And I want to tell you what that law requires. It requires the courts to identify high-risk, high-conflict families. The law requires sheriffs in every county to designate a portion of their parking lot as a safe exchange location. Each parking lot must have a purple light or sign, a color long associated with domestic violence awareness and prevention, to clearly identify the neutral safe exchange location, and it must include the following. The lot must be accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The lot must provide adequate lighting and external video that records continuously 24/7. The lot must have at least one camera that records an accurate date and time and can retain footage for at least 45 days. Another provision requires petitions for protective orders to include a checkbox to request a safe exchange location.
Hell yeah.
By the time that I wrote this episode, there were so many safe spots already that I couldn't count.
Is this nationwide?
This is Florida.
Just Florida? Okay.
Yes. I hope this could go nationwide.
I mean, it's so smart.
It's so incredibly smart.
That is a really helpful thing.
I would love for this to go nationwide. And we have a nice little picture of what the little sign looks like. But there's, on the Facebook group that Cassie Mom has created and in other articles and stuff, I saw so many comments that, oh, another safe place just went up in this county. Oh, we just added one over here. Like, I was trying to get a count for you guys, but then there's so many different places to keep track of already. So it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And it just is completely on track with Cassie and her professional and personal like mission statement in life of wanting to help people and make a difference. It's very unfortunate that this is how she made her difference.
Yeah.
But it's so nice that she could help prevent somebody else from going through this.
Yeah.
Or at least help them not have the tragedy ending. But also on that note, it's so unfortunate that major changes like this don't happen till like completely preventable tragedy happens. And we really need to get out of this mindset of if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Because just because something's worked for decades doesn't mean it's still the best way to do it. And I think that's a lot of our like child protective system and custody and parental court is that it has been the same for so long that it needs to be changed. It needs to be more current. Like things that used to work, they're not working anymore.
Yeah. It's honestly awful. Like we've gone through so many cases now that laws have been made. All of these things have been changed because of these tragedies. Like, I just hate that we're having to lose someone who could have done so much good for this world on their own to be able to make these changes that should be apparent in the first place.
It's awful.
It is.
But I'm glad something's being done about it. And if any of our listeners know anybody who knows how to possibly suggest this as a more national level or how to get more states to adopt this, please let us know, because that's something I would definitely be very interested in also working with them on, because I feel it's something that needs to be done everywhere.
Yes. I think it's so, I don't understand why people don't think of doing these exchanges at police stations, at sheriff's offices. Like,
and they do. A lot of them do.
Yeah. But like to have that designated spot that most likely has cameras and all of these other things in it to protect both parties, to protect the children, like that's genius. And I don't understand why they wouldn't want to adopt this.
Yes. And so, you know what time it is.
I do.
We do. We do it at the end of every episode.
We ain't got shit.
Justice. It's currently loading.
Justice is loading.
Justice is loading. It's loading for Cassie and Saylor. And Cassie's law is a great start to justice. Even though she's no longer here, we're still helping make the world a better place. Who knows how many lives could be saved because of Cassie's law. And there is a fund currently run by Raeann, Cassie's sister. It's a GoFundMe. And it started off as a way to fund the searches for Cassie. But it has since turned into a fund for her funeral. And once they had done that, it is now just for Saylor's future.
Hell yeah.
The GoFundMe is still open. They do have a larger goal on there, and I think that they are over halfway to that goal. But now it's for Saylor. Saylor is currently with Cassie's family, so we don't have to worry anything there.
That we know of.
But you're never really ready to raise another child, especially when you're older or you have your own kids or you're done. And so a lot of this is to just very much help make sure that Saylor can have the life that she deserves to have without her parents.
Because she has unfortunately lived her life of this constant battle, and now she has neither of them.
Yes. And so we just hope that Saylor has a wonderful, beautiful life.
Absolutely.
And it's just so unfortunate. Cassie did everything right. She did everything she was supposed to. She did everything everybody tells her. Everything that everyone is told, she did, and it wasn't enough.
Life lesson for you guys really quick. Use condoms.
Oh my god. That is not what I thought you were about to say. But way to lighten that shit up because I was about to cry.
Use condoms and birth control for fuck.
Jesus
sake.
Christ. Okay. But on that note, I also feel like telling people who leave their abusers is not just enough to just keep doing that and saying it and do the right thing and do that. I feel like there also needs to be a change on the court level. There's no way Marcus should have been able to file motion after motion after motion the way he did, and without any evidence or allegations that meant anything. Now, most of the time the judge did deny him.
Yeah. But he's still able to do it consistently.
But the fact, like, just the motion is him.
Yeah.
Controlling and still continuing to abuse. Being allowed to do that.
Those were mental fucks for sure.
Yes.
Like, he may not have been like a physically abusive person, but that does not make him not an abuser.
Yes. And just the financial control, keeping her constantly in the court turmoil and locked in that. And that's stressful and hard. And I hope that his trial does not get delayed again. Dear God, I might lose it.
If for any reason he happens to be listening to this, sir, I will make sure these hands are for free on Facebook Marketplace just for you.
Free 99 over here. Can they listen to podcasts in jail?
I don't fucking know.
They can be on TikTok.
Okay, they're not supposed to be. Don't out these people.
Do you ever accidentally get on prison TikTok?
Yes, and I love it.
It's hilarious.
Don't ruin this for me.
Okay. Shh. Allow prison TikTok. It's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going to move on. This has been a long episode.
It has been a long episode.
But it was a lot of information.
It was.
And it was needed. But we love you guys. No, we're not ending this yet. Go subscribe to our shit.
I was waiting to see if she remembered. Go subscribe, like, follow us on everything. We're hilarious if you haven't just experienced that.
Yeah.
So, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
YouTube, Apple, Spotify.
It's all going to be at Justice 4 or Justice 4 Pod, Justice 4 Podcast.
You can also literally find all of it just on our website, justice4podcast.com. That's also where you can go and submit cases. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you.
Giving us this case. I'm a little upset.
Yeah, sorry. I thought this one was going to be a quick and easy one until I found the custody battle.
Reading all the court documents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have a link down there, and you're going to click on that link, and it's going to give you all of those in there, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah.
Now we're going to end it. We love you guys. Please stop killing people. Please use condoms. We love you.
See something, say something.
All that jazz.
Love you.
Love you. Okay.
Bye.